tonight we have Matt Robinson with us. Hi, Matt.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Matt is running for the Iowa House.
I am.
Tell us about your district.
Yeah, so I'm running for Iowa House District 72. That covers the north and west end of Dubuque. So it's a mostly suburban type district, a little bit of a metro. But I also do have a portion to the north that really covers some rural areas. So we get kind of a wide array in this district of different kind of voters, different kind of needs. But that kind of district makes it fun. So I'm really excited to go out and meet everyone in District 72.
Yay. Do you have a primary opponent? I think you have a primary opponent. Yeah?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. Okay. What do you think makes you different from other Democratic candidates or from your primary opponent?
Yeah, I think I'd like to take this one on the broad spectrum of just what makes me a little bit different than most Democrats. And that's that I have real lived experience. And I'm not saying no Democrat does. But I've been out here in the trenches. I was born into a relatively poor family, came up through the public school system, and I have worked in construction for the last 16 years. I really cut my teeth out here in the trenches with everyone else. I know what it's like to struggle to get by week, month by month, living paycheck to paycheck, fighting off the bill collectors, trying to keep a roof over my head, keep the lights on, and hopefully keep a couple groceries in the fridge and food on the table. I know that it's not easy. I've had a lot of times where the dollar stretches too thin. Those little emergencies that we don't expect, a car breakdown, maintenance on your house, little things like that can really throw someone for a loop. I don't think things like that are very well represented currently in terms of the Democratic Party or our representation in the government as a whole. Working class voters, that's really my bread and butter. Those are the people that I understand the best. Those are the people that I want to look out for the most because those are the people that are most underrepresented when it comes to Des Moines. So I'm going to be fighting hard for those type of people, and I think that's what really sets me different than a lot of the folks that are going to be running this year.
Right on. Um, Do you have, we always ask this because we're trying to build our own bank of information. Do you have a favorite political podcast or TikToker or any kind of influencer in the politics lane that you kind of follow along with?
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good question. So I'm a podcaster. I'm just a little bit older. I'm young, but not that young. So I'm in the podcast wheelhouse. I love the Pod Save America guys. They always can get you the news and get you a good laugh. Also, in terms of information and a good take on things, I like the Bulwark. They have multiple different podcasts throughout their conglomerate, but anything from the Bulwark, Tim Miller and Sarah Longwell, former Republicans like myself. I find their takes to be interesting. I find the way they cover things to be interesting. Sometimes give you a little bit of a different view than what you get in the typical Democratic media ecosystem.
Right. That's a good one. I have not heard of that one, so we'll add it to the list.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Next question. Do you take corporate PAC money? Do you plan to vow not to while in office?
Yeah, so no corporate PAC money here. We're going to be focusing really hard on our grassroots dollars and donors. As I said, I'm a working class guy. I am, not to use an outdated and overused term, but a man of the people. I mean, these are my people. These are the guys that get out and wake up early in the morning and work real hard all day. And I'm sorry, when I say guys, I mean guys and gals. Gender neutral term there. And so it's really important to me that I'm getting the support from them. If I don't have that support, they're not willing to give their hard-earned dollar to get me elected. I shouldn't be here. I will say in terms of PAC money, I am excited to have a lot of support from the unions. It's a little out of frame here, but union carpenter, I'm not afraid to take those dollars because I know those are my people. Those
Yeah,
are the people that I care about. They fight for my rights. I'm going to fight for theirs as well.
Perfect. Yeah, when we always kind of describe the differences between corporate PAC money, more for viewers and candidates, because obviously at this point you know
Yeah,
this stuff. Corporate PAC being Exxon and Walmart and FedEx
right.
and stuff like that. Advocacy PACs, we love advocacy PACs. Love,
Right.
love, love them. Take all of the money they will give you.
Yeah, and I kind of threw that in too because it's, I know the difference, but I know some people watching this might not know the difference between, a
100%.
pack, an advocacy pack, and, corporate packs. They are evil. I will not take their dollars.
Fantastic. Layla, next question's you.
Yeah. So if you look at the legislature as if it's like picking a college major, where you pick a major and you pick a minor, what would you major in? What would you minor in?
I love the framing of that question. If I'm going to pick a major, my major is going to be workforce and labor. And it's not just, I don't want to hone in just on jobs, but I want to hone in on things like, we have a quality of life issue here in Iowa. Affordability is a crisis. So we need better wages. We need people having more access to affordable housing. We need folks to come to this state and work. And without those two things, no one's going to come here. So I would say major is going to be, revolving around labor, also protecting our labor laws, protecting our hardworking folks, making sure they have safe jobs, making sure that, in the unfortunate event when, their job shipped off to Mexico and they got to go file for unemployment, that unemployment insurance is there for them and accessible to them. Hint, hint, it's not really at this point. Those are the types of issues I'm going to be focusing on. If I have to pick a minor, I would say education. Now, I'm not an educator, I'm not a teacher. This is not necessarily my wheelhouse, but I do understand that a really important cornerstone of our future is an educated populace. And we had a state for many, many years that had the best quality education that this nation had to offer. So I would love to be on the forefront of ensuring that we get back to that quality.
Yeah. Um, what are some ways that you're active in your community?
Well, I mean, a lot of the times I'm lucky to, again, be a part of the Carpenters Union. Through the union, we do a lot of different activities out in our community, whether that's, helping out, donating to different groups, donating our time to different groups. About every Saturday morning, you can find me down at the Dubuque Area Labor Harvest, which is a local food bank. Just this month, we did about 470 boxes of food to families in need in Dubuque. Folks just drive up, we load up the boxes, we get them off and ready to go. I mean, next weekend, next Saturday, I'll be out delivering. We do in-home deliveries too, certain weekends. I'll do that. I also am very active within just the political scene. I know sometimes it's a fine line between what are you actually doing there and are you just yelling into the void? But I do think there is some importance in getting out and, doing the protesting, doing that advocacy work for folks that can't, folks that are too afraid to get out. Active blood donor. I don't know. I love to pitch into my community anywhere I can. When folks call and say, "Hey, we need help here," I'm happy to throw the boots on and get down there and make sure that we're going to take care of what's needed. So, yeah,
Yeah. I think it's good when people are active in their communities. If you're not, then you have no business representing it.
it's true. You got to know your folks.
Yeah. Okay, this is the most kind of controversial question, I'd say.
Okay.
Um, Cats or dogs and why?
Ooh, I was so ready for some big political hardball. This is still a difficult question, so I'm going to go cats. Cats for two reasons. One, I've had dogs. I had to put down a dog, and that was a very sad experience that I don't know if I've actually really bounced back from. But I do love cats because they tend to wreak a little less havoc in the home, little less attention starved. For an active person like me, when I'm out volunteering in the community, running a campaign, I need a companion at home that's willing to take care of themselves for a little while when I'm spending long hours away from home. And they're cute. They're cute. So cats. It's cats for me.
We're cat people because we have dogs.
100%.
I know a lot of people like that too.
What are your top priorities? This cannot include healthcare, water quality, education.
It can't include those things?
It cannot.
Oh man. Okay.
No Democratic talking points in here.
No, that's cool. I think well, okay. You're gonna have to stop me if I get into a Democratic talking point. For me, raising the minimum wage. Here in the state of Iowa, it's 7.25 an hour. It's been 7.25 an hour for 18 years. That kid is going off to college this year. That is crazy to me. And
What is
it's
it doing?
not just the minimum wage. That brings everything up. When the tides rise, so do all the boats. And we are looking at a state here in Iowa. We have a crisis. We are a low wage state. As a union carpenter, when I work here in Dubuque, I make $10 an hour less than if I'm 10 minutes away across the river in Wisconsin because our union scales differ so much. Why is that? Because Iowa is a low wage state, because Iowa doesn't take care of its workers. Something along with raising the minimum wage, it would be restoring collective bargaining rights for public sector workers. The stronger our unions are, the stronger our workers are. And I don't just mean those union workers, I mean all workers. I need people to understand that, again, as I said, with the tide, when the tide rises, so do all the boats. If our public sector unions are doing better, that means our private sector unions are doing better. When our union workers are doing better and driving up those wages and ensuring for better quality jobs, that sets the standard for everyone in the state. Those are two really big, important issues to me. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Those would be two big ones.
Yeah, I like those. But what would you raise the minimum wage to? What would you say?
I'm going to come in at $20 an hour, which I think is actually incredibly reasonable, but knowing that I'm probably going to have to get talked down a little bit, I'll settle for no less than 15.
Yeah.
I think the bordering states right now, I think if I remember right, Illinois, Wisconsin, Nebraska just raised theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Minnesota even has a higher minimum wage
Yeah.
than we do.
Oh yeah, they definitely do. I think Minnesota is one of the states that actually, I want to say it might have been 2 or 3 years ago, they went ahead and they're at like $18 an hour now for a minimum
Yeah.
wage.
Yeah.
I mean, people can fact check me. I could be wrong. These are not facts that I just keep right here in my brain.
Right.
The one thing that's drilled into my brain is 7.25 an hour in a home.
Mm-hmm.
It's abhorrent.
Yeah, it's like
100%.
half. And Iowa was ahead of the curve in raising the minimum wage the first time,
Yeah.
or I guess in 2008. or whenever.
Iowa has been ahead of the curve a lot of different times.
Yeah.
Still recently.
What the hell happened?
I have an
Seriously.
answer for that, but it's not an unpopular answer.
I have the answer for it too. It was more of a rhetorical question. Uh, I'm asking the voters, what happened? Why do we vote for these people? Why do we vote for these policies?
Mm-hmm.
We were doing a damn good thing in this state.
Yeah.
We were one of the first to legalize gay marriage. We led the front on raising minimum wages. We've always, hell, we got close. We were pushing to be one of the first states to get rid of right to work in 2011. Now we got Democrats to blame for that not happening. We had a fucking trifecta done. Ooh, pardon my language. I probably shouldn't drop the F-bombs here.
You're good.
But, yeah, so it's things like that it frustrates me. And again, back to why am I running? Because I know we can do better. And I know people in Iowa deserve better. This is the core of who we are. We need to get back to our roots.
Yep.
Agreed.
With that, are you in support of the private school voucher program?
No. But let me elaborate on that. I'm not in support of the voucher program as is. Had I been in the legislature when it came through, I would have been a definite no vote. Now that we have it in place, what we can do, the best that we can do, because I don't ever want to take money away from education. Any dollars going towards educating students is a good investment. However, I think we're lacking some oversight on this. I think we're lacking some guardrails on this program. And I don't know if all this money is going towards actually educating students. And I say I don't know because we have no process of auditing this. We have no process of knowing where these large amounts of our state tax dollars are going when they're going to these private schools. We also have the issue with private schools not having to abide by the same standards as our public school system. Public schools are there to take any student, no matter your background, no matter where you come from, what level of education you're at, you have an opportunity in our public school system. It is not the same for our private schools. I think that's my biggest issue right now is we need to get that playing field back to level because the money's already there and the money's going to happen. So we need some accountability. We need some rules in place to make sure that these dollars are actually being spent on these kids. And we have some families that are actually able to benefit from this program. Because right now, what we're seeing is these school systems jacking up their tuitions right here in Dubuque. Holy Family Schools have 2 years running raised their tuitions. They went from about $5,800, and I say about approximate $5,800. They're running about $13,000 right now for tuition. So if you got a $5,000 ESA and you said, great, that's the school system I want to send my kids to. Now, I support that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that for our families in Iowa. But now it's still a pay-to-play system because these schools have raised their tuition long past what that ESA is going to cover. So it's still people who already have the means that are getting their kids into those schools. That's a problem.
Yeah. Would you say that, in your mind, the solution would be to just publicize the private schools?
In a way, yes. I mean, we have to allow them to still have the curriculum that they have. I don't want to get into the business of telling these private school systems how they're supposed to operate in terms of curriculum. That way, there is the choice for families and students. But we do need to know that these dollars are going towards kids. We do need to have that out there in the open. We need this to be a more open process.
Mm.
I
Okay.
would say with the voucher program, the way it sits, or the voucher scam, as I prefer to call it, um, while I absolutely agree that there needs to be oversight, I would also add to that in that private schools do not have to take anyone.
Sure.
And if they're not forced to take anyone, then they should not be getting public dollars. And I think that that has to be part of the oversight. And the reason that I say that is for special education students who are left in underfunded public schools because private schools won't take them. And it's
Yeah.
causing a lot of inequity in education across the board with everyone, but
Yep.
specifically for special education students.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we saw the devastating cuts to the AEAs that they did.
Mhm.
That's not helping our special education students or any of our students for that matter. But in particular, again, the inequity of folks that the families that have kids that are in the special education, special needs, anything like that, we got to take care of it. I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree. There needs to be better equity within this. I want to see all kids succeed. I want to see all kids have the best opportunity for education. I don't care what school they go to. I
Right.
just want to make sure that Iowa kids are being put first.
100%.
Yeah. Oh no, I lost my space. Hang
You're on
on.
11.
There we go. It like slid over off of my split screen.
Oh no.
Okay. If you could pass legislation on a petty grievance, what would it be and why? If you need an example, let us know.
Pass legislation on a petty grievance. Okay, give me one example. See if that juices my brain a little bit.
Okay, my example is I support public transportation for all of the obvious reasons. It's accessible, it's affordable, it's good for the environment, but also to reduce traffic and get bad drivers off the road. Someone else's example was to legislate commercial volume in comparison to like shows
That's
on TV.
actual legislation right now, by the
Now
way.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've heard a couple reports from Des Moines, some of the crazy stuff coming out of there. It's okay, so petty legend. This is fun because this is not something I think of every day. You think of the real basic stuff, you think of the big stuff. You don't think, boy, if I had a petty grievance, what am I gonna go after? It's not even positive legislation in terms of like it's like Layla said, public transportation because it helps this and that. No, I am just going to write legislation that does not allow commercial vehicles to ever leave the right lane. And I think there are so many people in the state of Iowa that would love and revere me for that. Probably not trucking company owners, but that's their problem. I spend enough time on the highways and the interstates getting caught between two semis going the same speed, and I guarantee you it's 3 miles an hour under the speed limit. Drives me nuts. So I'm going to write the law that keeps all commercial vehicles in the right lane.
That's a good one. I hate being sandwiched.
Yeah.
It sucks. And when they go the same speed,
Yes.
like that's already illegal.
Well, okay, so they're usually not going the same speed. One of them is going like 0.2 miles an hour faster than the other. So it only takes them like 7 miles to finally complete the pass.
Totally valid. That's great.
Yeah.
Can't blame them for that 0.2 of a difference.
Oh,
Just stay in the right lane.
Literally. Layla, are
Omar.
you wanting me to go?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, my bad. Okay. What would you consider valid experience for someone who's running for Iowa House?
Living, breathing, meets the legal requirements. That's basically it.
Wonderful. That's great. We love that. We have asked everyone. We've had a variety of answers. There has been anything from, just being an Iowan to having legal experience. Like in the legal field, we've had people say just a plethora of things. And our stance is if you are an Iowan and you live in Iowa and you give a shit about Iowa, then you're absolutely qualified to run.
Yeah, I mean, in effect, that's what I was going for with my
Of
answer.
course, yeah.
It's
That's what
we
I
need
got.
people from all walks of life. We really do. I don't think we need a legislature full of union workers. That's not going to serve the state very well either. But
Right.
when we only have one or two union members that serve in our legislature, that's not good either.
Yeah.
Same goes farmers, teachers, whatever. We all have our place here. And I think we need to look at some diversity within our legislature. It's getting a
100%.
little overwhelmed with people who are a little out of touch with what's going on with the average everyday Iowa.
100%.
Yeah.
So, with campaigning and all of the constant influx of bad news all the time, what keeps you going?
The people do, not to be cliche, but like really it is. It's the people. It's getting out on the doors and meeting someone new and getting to hear their life story and their experience. And, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's terrible. Sometimes people are truly living through some of the worst times of their lives and they are looking for someone to help. And I absolutely love being able to be that person to be there, comfort them, help them along. Maybe I can help them with just some services right here, right now. I'm not elected. I can't do anything, but maybe I can lead you to something that can actually help you in our community. Even that. That's the thing that keeps me going. Also coffee and nicotine, but
Fair. Valid. Okay. What is your hottest take?
hmm.
We know this is a hard one.
This is a hard one because we usually take those hottest takes and we file them way back in our brains, so we make sure we don't actually say it out loud sometime.
Right.
I would say and it's hard to tell. Someone's hot take is another person's mild take.
100%. Yeah.
Not to get too current with what's exactly going on right now. Anyone in this country is a contributor to this great society.
Is this the last one?
I don't care if you are an undocumented person in my state. If you are willing to work, you are willing to contribute, you are willing to put your money into our economy, you are willing to help build the house that I'm working on. You're willing to change out the beds in the hotel that I got to stay in when I'm out of town for work. You are absolutely deserving of every human right. And it seems like we lost them.
Yeah.
I don't know where and I don't know why.
The plot has definitely been lost.
Yeah, the plot has been lost. So
Human beings and all,
in the world? No, but I don't think we're talking about it enough right now.
I would absolutely agree with that. And I would also say that like it's actually a pretty hot take to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which I find absolutely atrocious. But human beings being human beings and all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not like the Constitution doesn't apply to everyone on US soil or anything.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay, so the next question is pretty similar in what's your wokest take?
Okay, so this doesn't apply to the Iowa legislature. This doesn't apply to anything I'll be able to do if elected, but it's Medicare for all. We have an insurance system that's preying on people. We have people dying because of the preying that is happening to people. I'm not going to support a candidate who's not willing to take on health insurance.
Sure.
And I mean, like, really take it on.
Yeah.
Really head up. It needs to be a single payer system, Medicare for all. Something has to change.
Mhm.
So again, like I said, not something I can personally affect or influence. But I am definitely being very keen on that at a higher level, and I will not support a candidate that's not willing to say that.
Absolutely. So on a state level, I wonder, I mean, obviously you can't, and I know this obviously because with Layla, she gets lots of questions like, do you support, healthcare for all, Medicare for all, whatever, single payer system, however you want to phrase it. And the answer is always obviously yes, but on a state level, we don't have that capability. However, I would ask, would you be in favor of unprivatizing I just lost the word that I was looking for. Layla, you know what I'm talking about?
Medicaid, health
Medicaid.
insurance,
There we go.
companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we see in Iowa when we privatized the Medicaid system in 2018, 2019. What year was that? It's not that long ago.
It was not that
We
long
have
ago.
seen the quality of our healthcare tank.
Absolutely.
We look at a state.
Yeah, it was Branstad.
Yep.
Oh, was it Terry? Okay. Thanks, Terry.
It was
So
when
that
he
would've
came
been-
back right before
Yeah.
Trump made him ambassador.
Yeah. So, okay. So I mean, it's been 10 years. Boy, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Right. Such a great time.
When we privatized Medicare, we watched the quality of healthcare in the state tank. And now, now we have the numbers for it. We are near last or last in the United States in terms of almost every care that can be offered to our citizens. And a lot of that has to do with this privatization of the Medicaid system where people aren't being served. People are not being served by the services that are supposed to be there to take care of them. So yeah, I'm totally in favor. Man, let's get to the point where we have a trifecta and we got a majority in the House and the Senate and we got a great governor and we can get things like that passed.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So only a couple questions left. The next one, tell us something you've learned about yourself from campaigning.
Excuse me. This is actually really funny. I'm going to get a little personal here on this one. We're actually going to throw it into a conversation I had with my therapist last week. One thing I learned about me campaigning is that Matt, as a candidate, is not afraid of the no. And I mean no and no. Uh, I'm going to be told no. I'm going to be told no by voters. I'm going to be told no when I come up with policy position. I'm going to be told no by donors. And one thing that I have done a lot in my life personally has been be afraid of the no. Always being too afraid to get out there, to step outside the box, try and figure out something uh, in a new way. I'm not afraid to do that as a candidate because I know if we're going to do something right, and we're going to do something that helps people, we got to get out there. We have to think outside the box. We can't be afraid of being told no. Um, and my therapist goes, I think your fear of being told no has really held you back in life. I think you could learn from that candidate that's inside of you. So that's actually been a big thing I've learned as a candidate about myself is let's be a little more fearless. Let's go take this on.
That is super valid. I really like that.
Me too.
Okay, so we have rapid fire, which is not really rapid fire at all. It is two questions. We're going to ask you your stances. They can be yes or no questions. If you'd like to dive into them more to explain, you're more than welcome to, but you also do not have to.
Okie dokie.
All right. Are you pro-choice?
Yes.
Are you pro LGBTQ plus rights, specifically trans rights?
Yes. Yes. And yes.
Fabulous. Wonderful. Those are the answers we like to hear. We have not had anyone say no to those. If that ever happens, I don't know how we will react, if I'm being honest.
Boo.
We might just end the call right then and there and post it and be
If
like,
that pause is too long, I'm like,
right? If there's a pause, I get itchy.
what do you
like,
mean?
are you? Yeah, no. Wonderful. Okay, so two more things. Why should your constituents vote for you?
For me, because I get it. I've been there. I've done it. I'm a little younger. I'm 32 years old. Um, I'm not quite as young as Layla. I wish I had the cojones to get out there when I was 21 years old to do something like this. But I'm a little bit younger, but I've been through it. I've had my fair share of hardships and struggles, whether that was growing up through my childhood or here in my adulthood. I've made mistakes. I've done stupid things, but I've learned from it all. And the one thing that I've learned best is that we can't do this without each other. I'm really here to grow this community. I'm really here to bring everyone together. And I know we're in a incredibly divisive time, and I will never achieve the homogeny that I would love to see in my brain. But at the end of the day, we can do better and we can cross the lines and we can do better for people that don't agree with us. And we can do better for the people that do agree with us. I've been there, I've done it. I'm not going to be here to judge someone's struggle. I'm not going to be here to tell them that they didn't work hard enough, so they don't deserve this. I'm not going to tell them that they got to pull their bootstraps up. Because I tell you what, I pulled my bootstraps up plenty of times. And that's the reason I got here. I was sitting back in 2022 going, what in the world is going on here? I have worked my tail off for the better part of a decade. I got nothing to show for it. I have no prospect of home ownership. I got barely anything in my savings account, but I'm tired. I have worked my hands to the bone, working construction, out in these hot days, out in this miserable ass cold that we're currently having. I've been there, I've done it. Why is it so hard? I'm not the only one. And that's what got me into this. That's what got me catapulted into politics, interested in getting involved, because it shouldn't be this hard. It should not. It's this hard because the system is rigged against us. Working class people, the average everyday Iowan, does not have an advocate in the moment. They do not have someone that's there to stand up for them when bad legislation is happening, when legislation is happening that will deeply impact their lives. They don't know about it until it's already happened to them. So we need more people in Des Moines that are going to stand up and lobby for the everyday person.
Absolutely. Um, so lastly, we want you to share your socials, your website. How do people get a hold of you? How do they find you?
Oh, absolutely. Um, Matt Robinson for Iowa is a really good way to find me on all my socials. Um, I'm about the only one out there, so you'll probably see me. Look for the guy in the cowboy hat. I kept it a little more casual since I'm inside. Haven't been outside lately. We just have the ball cap on. I'm always wearing a hat, by the way, because I'm bald. So, I don't need everyone seeing that. I also have just loved hats my entire life. Look for the cowboy hat, Matt Robinson for Iowa, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I'm on X, but I haven't been active on X in years. So, I mean, if you want to follow me there, go ahead. But otherwise, another great way to find me, go to www.buildabetteriowa.com. That is my main campaign page. That also has all the links to my socials. It also has links to donate to the campaign. Have to make that shameless plug of I wish these campaigns ran on hopes and dreams, because boy, we'd have a good one, but they don't. They run on dollars. So anyone that is inspired by the message here, go give $1 if you got it. Beyond that, you can find me in Dubuque, North and West End. I'm always trolling around the neighborhoods.
Lurking around every corner. All right, perfect. The only other thing we ever ask is what's your big ask? And I think you kind of covered that. So big ask is donate the money. Campaigns do not
Yeah.
run on hopes and dreams. Good candidates do not get into office with no money. That is not how it works.
Hit me with lightning. Give me a